Okay, let's just dive right in. If you're in any kind of heavy industry, mining, manufacturing, energy, you know this feeling. Maintenance performance is in a nosedive. Schedules are a mess, and every single day feels like you're just putting out fires. It's a huge source of frustration, not to mention cost. But here's the thing. What if the way we've all been trying to fix it is completely, fundamentally wrong?
Right? When things start to go sideways, the knee-jerk reaction is always what you see on the left. We blame the people. We figure, oh, it must be a skills gap, so we train them more. Or we don't have enough bodies, so we try to hire more. Or they're just not working hard enough, so we push them harder. But the real story, the one that's backed by decades of analysis, is on the right. This is not a people problem. It is a full-blown system failure.
So first things first, we've got to dismantle this core misunderstanding, what I call the people problem myth. This is the persistent and honestly really expensive belief that when performance dips, the root cause has to be a lack of skill or effort from the team on the ground. And this quote right here, it just nails it. This isn't just an opinion, okay? This is a conclusion that comes from really looking at what happens on the plant floor. The problem isn't the players, it's the broken game they're being forced to play day in and day out. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, it creates what we call a hostile planning environment. I mean, think about it. You could hire the smartest, most organized planner on the planet, but if you drop them into a broken system, they are going to fail. Let's break down the barriers that make success pretty much impossible. First up, the backlog. It's supposed to be this clean, prioritized list of work, right? Well, in reality, it's usually this digital monster. We're talking thousands of old, duplicate, low-value work orders just creating so much noise that finding what's actually critical is like finding a needle in a haystack. I mean, imagine a critical safety order for a failing valve buried under 3,000 requests to repaint handrails. And listen, that's not an exaggeration. That's how catastrophic failures begin. Next, we've got the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. Planners get work notifications with these super vague descriptions like, motor sounds funny. What does that even mean? So they're forced to spend their entire day playing detective, chasing people down just for basic info instead of, actually planning the work. It's an incredible waste of their talent. Ooh, and this one's a killer. The planner builds this perfect, logical, weekly schedule. Everything's lined up. Then Tuesday morning, operations throws a grenade into the whole thing with some urgent job that, let's be honest, they could have seen coming weeks ago. This culture of reactivity just demolishes any attempt at proactive planning, and it creates this vicious cycle of chaos. And this is so crucial. Without any quality control, you're guaranteeing failure. There are no formal gates, no bouncer at the door to stop a half-baked work order from flooding the system. This means work that isn't truly ready, no parts, unclear scope, no permits. It just clogs up the whole workflow, setting the execution team up to fail before they even pick up a wrench. Let's just let that sink in for a second. When these barriers are in place, it doesn't matter how skilled or dedicated your planners are, the system is fundamentally rigged for them to lose. Okay, so if the environment is really that hostile, how can you see it from the outside? Well, the good news is, a broken system leaves clues everywhere. Let's look at the flashing red lights that tell you the problem is your process, not your people. I mean, just look at this list. Does any of this feel painfully familiar? Schedules being totally rebuilt every single day. Work orders that are a year old and nobody's even touched them. Teams running around like crazy chasing parts for a job that's supposed to start in an hour. And that soul-crushing feeling of just being stuck in firefighting mode forever. These aren't signs of incompetent people. They are the direct output of a sick system. Now, what's really interesting is that this isn't just some fringe idea. This way of thinking is backed by global standards. ISO 55000, which is the international standard for managing physical assets, makes this exact point. It says high performance doesn't come from a few individual heroes working nights and weekends. Nope. It comes from good governance, disciplined processes, and data you can actually trust. All right, enough about the problem. Let's actually talk about the solution. The great news is this is a solved problem. There are proven, practical fixes that attack the system itself. We're going to walk through 4 of the most powerful ones. Okay, first, you have to clean that backlog. And I mean ruthlessly. Get in there every week, groom it, remove the junk, and put expiration dates on old work. Second, define ironclad quality gates. A job is not plan ready until all the parts are confirmed, the permits are approved, and the scope is locked. Third, clarify roles. The operations manager and only the operations manager can approve a schedule break, not 5 different supervisors. And finally, fix your data at the source. Make key fields mandatory in your system and create a way for technicians to easily correct bad info.
Now, here's a little reality check. None of this is flashy. There's no AI silver bullet here. These fixes are about discipline, consistency, and process. They might seem kind of boring, but let me tell you, this boring work is what consistently separates the high-performing organizations from absolutely everyone else.
So what's the reward for embracing all this boring but super effective work? Let's look at the payoff. What actually happens when you finally shift your focus from blaming people to fixing the process that surrounds them? The results? They're pretty incredible. The transformation is dramatic. It's night and day. On the left, you've got the chaos of the broken system, the constant firefighting, the high stress, the corrosive mistrust between operations and maintenance. But on the right, in a well-designed system, you get predictability, you get calm, you get schedules that are actually met, productivity that soars, and a powerful foundation of trust. It is a completely different world to work in. And this isn't just a feeling. These are tangible, measurable results. Schedule compliance jumps from maybe 40% to over 90%. Teams get way more work done without adding more people. Stress levels plummet, which improves safety and morale. Operations start seeing maintenance as a reliable partner. And your planners, for the first time, they can actually do the job they were hired for. They finally stopped drowning.
So here's the bottom line. The one thing to remember: fix the system and performance will naturally improve. It is not about forcing people to be heroes or work endless overtime. It is simply about creating a well-designed process that sets every single person up for success.
And this brings us to our final thought. And it's really a challenge to every leader out there. For years, so many organizations have been just spinning their wheels, burning out their people, and wasting millions because they've been starting with the wrong question. A question that points the finger in completely the wrong direction.
The right question, the one that unlocks real, sustainable improvement, is this one. What is it in our process that makes good planning so difficult? When you start asking that, you stop blaming your people and you start fixing the real problem. And that is the path to excellence.